Alright, pop here. Another crazy project. Well, here is my seal kit. Since my battery won't quit shutting off, I'll have to change it. Okay, how about this battery? Here's the seal kit. It is for a Stanley TA54. This is so old it's a TA52. So let's hope the parts fit, because that's the only ones I could get. I'll clean this up and we'll start tearing it apart. Okay, hydraulics. I got these hoses disconnected. It's pretty much a guarantee that I'm going to get hydraulic all over the floor. But I'm going to try and get this drained before I get my camera set up and splash all over it. Okay, I was having trouble hanging on to this camera, so I went and got a tripod. So, I'm guessing, because there's a little bit of an instruction in here, not very much. Well, kind of an exploded view. And you start by taking this thing off, which, was amazingly easy. I thought that would be difficult. Huh, maybe I spoke too soon. Maybe it will be difficult. It just had a loose bolt. I may end up having to beat on this with a hammer, who knows. But anywho, let's see if I can put some light on this. Right here, that seal is in pieces. So probably why it's spitting a lot of hydraulic fluid. Let me grab a little rat-a-tat-tat and see if I can't smack that thing off of there. Huh. This might be, nope, don't say it. You'll ruin it. Now I gotta find a wrench to get that gland off. Is that one big enough? Maybe. Wow. Maybe because this thing tamps posts and vibrates like crazy, it's just rattling itself loose for me. I don't know. Let's see what's in here. Well, come here and look. Can you see? I think so. Holy long-winded threads. That should have actually had some bit of friction. Yeah, those O-rings are doing nothing. And here we go with the oil. I do have a catch pan and it's splashing, of course. All right, so. Yeah, I feel like there should be another seal right there, and this should not come out in pieces. What else we got in here? Oh yeah, here's where the mess comes. Well, that's amazingly a lot longer than I thought it would be. All right, so I guess that's what's inside. Oh, pieces are falling. Huh. That came out of there. Let me put some hydraulic oil all over the camera and find some rags. Okay, I got more pieces out here that, yeah, my tripod was sitting right there. So there's now hydraulic on my tripod. Looking at the pictures here, it appears there's supposed to be an O-ring here. There's not. It also appears that this has bolts and little O-rings. Mine does not, so I'm not taking that apart. This gland, I guess that's what it'd be. That's what it would be if it's a cylinder. It's supposed to have O-rings inside there, O-rings outside here, scraper and seals in there. Well, in this picture, we have scraper and seal and O-ring, and but this picture doesn't show that little double flat nut thing in there. So I don't know. I may just take some of these parts that seem like they might work in here. For instance, this piece just one piece. In this other unit is a bunch of pieces with O-rings. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but we're going to try it out tomorrow and hope so. Okay, I think I'm starting to figure some of this out. So this thing was right here, that thing was right there. So that's that thing, these things. There's an O-ring. I have an O-ring that size. That shows another O-ring, which is the O-ring that size. I have one about that size. And then looking inside the other end of it seems to be that piece, that piece, that piece, that piece, and another piece. I don't know if this is going to work or not. But then I have lots of parts that don't go anywhere. I don't know. Are we in there? Yep. Okay. I had to put this back in here to have enough torque to pry the seal out. That is just crumbling and spitting plastic everywhere. But that is, I don't know, probably this one. Yeah, that looks right. So that one goes in last. But this is my memory, you know, using video. Because I can look back and be like, where did you get that piece? And this piece looks like this piece, so kinda. And then farther in there, yeah, in there, is something metal. I'll get a flashlight. I don't know what it is. I think I got it. Right in there, which I'm sure is impossible to see. There is a little snap ring. Let me get a pick and I'll pull that out. Okay, I'm gonna let you see what a pain in the butt this is. This little ring goes around more than once and lays on top of itself, and it takes lots of tiny little tools and not even enough room for my head in there. Luckily somebody held it for me. Yeah, that super tiny thing stacked down inside that hole. Kind of a pain in the butt. But now that that is out, hopefully, yeah, now all this other stuff I can fiddle with forever and get it out. That is probably not going to hold fluid. I bet that's part of the problem. You think so? Okay, when nobody's looking, I'm cleaning everything with brake clean because it's nasty. But I do believe we are apart. A little more cleaning, and I think this white one, judging by the little groove in the back and semi the shape of it in the kit, happens to be black, but I think that's the one that goes in there. I'll do some more cleaning and we'll put it back together, and tomorrow we'll see if it works. I'll film that too. Okay, we got that back in there and that weird little locky dangy. And then comes, as we mentioned before, the little foamy thing and then the seal. So the little foamy thing and then the seal, which seems to fit very tight. So what did I do with my hammer? Winner. So let's try something like that. Oh yeah. That appears to be working. When I first fired this thing up, ever somebody gave it to me and been sitting for 20 years, all of this blew right out the end. So I bet this is going to stay in a lot better. That sounds very seated. Okay. So we have all that packing put back in. That new one put on, then this one went on. This is the new one, and then this little wedgie thing went in there with the two little grooves sticking up because I thought it was a screw, but it wasn't. And then that little thing was just sitting on there, and then all this goes back in the tube. And I cleaned the tube real good with brake clean. And you can still, well, I don't know if you can, Light's too bright, light's too dim. That's how this always works. You can still see hash marks. All the cylinders and all the rods actually look really good. I just think that all these little thingamadingies are just dried out and crunchy. I think it's going to work awesome. Okay, I forgot, and I got in my own way. But all of these are back shoved in the hole, and then all of this went back in this way, and now I feel like proper resistance. It all came out so easy the first time. I'm like, there's nothing pulling on this. So back to the 3 inches of very long threads. But now I can feel the inner O-ring seating, the one that was around the outside of this. This might drip because it's all old and in terrible condition, but upon completing this, I will have about $300 into this with hoses and the kit, and they're over $2,000. So let's see, before I get too tight, let's put the foot back on, make sure it still moves. And that is this thing. And this bolt. Because that's starting to get tight, but I mean, maybe it should have been tight. It came apart loose because everything was bad. I don't know. But we are sure going to find out tomorrow because we have a big tamping job. We got to do a ½ mile of fence. So that's tighter than it was. So click. And that moves like it should, I'm sure. This is going to be very, very functional. Tomorrow, we'll show you. Okay, I got this put back together. In the beginning, I said that I was probably going to spill hydraulic everywhere. Well, actually, I only spilled a little bit on the camera. And this is why. I tied this end of the hoses up to right here. I put the other end of the hoses, whoops, in a 5-gallon bucket. So at least there's that much oil that didn't end up on my floor. Okay, so from all these pieces, which are the ones colored with the black dots and this O-ring, wiper, rod, seal, for whatever, these apparently go into, some of these came with a handle. You can turn it on and off. Mine just goes on and off from the skid. A couple of them went in here, which mine didn't leak, so I didn't want to take it apart. These go inside the little handle, the valve. But all of these I have replaced. And now I have my hoses back on. The new ends cost me $100 because the old ones were junk. The hoses were junk. I had those long ones laying around, so I had these ones here made up by our local hose maker guy. So we'll catch y'all in the morning and see if it works good. There's some of the posts we set a week or so ago when I made that little short about the tamper leaking all over the place. So we're going to try out the fix, the repair new seals, and see if we can get some more set on my boy's barndominium pole barn. Well, there we go. Not sure this is loud because I have a skid steer running and the tamper's loud, but it works. The oil down here on the bucket is because I had a leaking hose. The tamper actually works. I didn't figure y'all wanted to watch that. I gave you a little bit, but that was 8 posts we got done. And About an hour. 18-inch hole, 4 foot deep. That is a time saver. So, we got 3 sides done in a couple of weekends, you know, a couple days, part of this weekend, part of another weekend. We gotta put 3 more over here, just like that gable on that end, and then we got 7 more to go on the porch. I don't know if we'll get them done today or not. It's getting a little dark and the weather's not looking the greatest. There we go. Do a little hand tamp on the bottom of that deep hole. Ready to set a couple more today. That one there's like 21 feet long. We'll pick that up with a skid steer. But once we tamp them, then we throw one of these things in the bottom. Concrete block. Get them formed up. We'll do some more. Put some braces on them. Now kind of back to what we were doing. Fill them all full of dirt. Well, there we go. The main body of the pole barn and the house in the ground. Not bad for one Saturday, and then next weekend a Sunday. And they're all looking mighty fine. So, guess I'm gonna close this one out. Appreciate you watching. And if you ever got to build a pole barn, I recommend you find an old tamper and fix it up, because that sure saves a lot of work. Y'all have a good one.